God bless you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I asked Pastor Bill how long I have to speak, and he said 5 hours, so settle in. Uh, but in all reality, I do have 5 hours or 5 weeks of stuff I could share with you today, so I will try to pick and choose and keep this short, but to leave you with a couple tidbits of what has been happening. I actually just passed the 3-year mark in February, because in February 2021, Ben and I contracted COVID, and my life has not been the same since. Ben never recovered. And then we just passed the 2-year mark of his attack, which was January of 2022. So 3 years, it's been crazy, a ride. But let me put my points here. I want to start with a couple verses that have become really real for me. One is Psalm 37:5, and it says, "Commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him, and he will help you." And in 37:7, it says, "Be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him to act." And boy, I mean, when he says patiently, it's it's patiently, right? So, and they say don't ever pray for patience because God's gonna give it to you in ways you didn't expect. But I mean, in these 3 years, it's just been insane. I have so many stories, so many testimonies. We've just an overview. We've been through, besides the accident and living in the streets of Peru in a third world country outside of a hospital, public hospital. We've been through 2 floods, a fire, a sewer backup, 5 robberies. It's been crazy. Many times, my life was in danger. I go into places where there is no foreigner there, and the average height of a Peruvian woman is 5 foot. I'm 5'9", so there's no blending in unless I'm walking on my knees. So many places I go, like I can never go anywhere by myself. There always has to be a man with me, and sometimes 2 men. So luckily, the son of the nurses, the family that's living with us, the oldest son was a security guard. So he has been perfect for me. And there have been actual times when he's literally saved my life. Many of these things my parents don't even know because we don't need to worry them any more than they already worry. But God is always there for me, providing. I'm going to tell you, just to keep it short, about one concrete example of God's perfect timing and this waiting patiently on the Lord and why it pays off to do that, because God has so much better plan than we could have for ourselves. And as many of you know, my house has been in foreclosure because I have to pay cash, everything in Peru. The insurance claims are still not processed. So up until now, I've had to pay all Ben's care out of my pocket. And in Peru, if you don't pay, they let you die. There are people literally dying in the streets. It's horrible because the hospital refuses to treat them without payment first. But so I was fighting for programs for my house because there's programs that exist for situations like I am in. And so for a year and a half, I fought to get this government grant. And for all intents and purposes, I was the perfect candidate for this program. But time after time, they denied me. And every time they denied me, I had to file an appeal. And it's a lengthy process. And I have so much going on, I didn't have time for this. But every appeal that I had to do, I would yell at God, why can't you just give me this one victory? I just need a victory. Everything is against me. Please just let them approve it. I don't understand why they're denying it. We should be approved. And so almost a year and a half passed. They were closing the program in October 1st of last year, 2023. So once they closed that program, the funds were gone. No one else was going to be approved. You had to be approved before October 1st. So it's like the last week of September, and I am calling them. I am begging them. They're saying, there's nothing we can do. You appeal that and so I appealed it again that last week of September, and I'm just crying. I'm crying on the phone with them. I'm crying to God. I don't understand this, God. Why? Why am I fighting so hard? And I got approved the last day of September. I mean, when God is the God of the last hour, this is it. I mean, I saw this a year and a half it took, and then I realized and I thought it through and I said, you know what? Thank you, God, for not listening to me, because a couple months before that, they had changed the cap on the program. The cap was 40,000, and they raised it to 50,000 because it was nearing the end of the program. So if I had been approved, and that means they're going to pay directly to my mortgage company all the back mortgage that's owed up to that cap. And so if I had been approved early on, I would have only gotten 40,000 versus the 50,000. So, $10,000. Who doesn't want $10,000 free money? Everyone. So, and then the whole time I was in appeal, they had to stop the foreclosure process. They could not continue legally with the foreclosure process because I was in, appeal process. So I realized, God gave me a year and a half when I didn't have to worry about that actually moving forward with the foreclosure. They gave me a year and a half of kind of tabling the payments, because if they had approved me, say, in the first month, then they would have only paid that much of back mortgage, which wasn't even at 40,000 at that point, and then I would have had to start paying right away. So it was just amazing to see, wow, God, your plan was so much better than mine. Why did I complain? Why did I cry? Why didn't I trust you? Because in the end, I got approved that the last day for 49,000. So I mean, it's just an incredible concrete example, and I have so many more of that. But we just need to trust God because He's got it, man. I mean, we can try to plan it out and try to think we know best, and we don't. And I don't know why we just don't give up sometimes. We're humans, of course, but we just have to give it to God and be like, take the reins. I don't want them, And so, through all of this, I've really learned that we have to be willing to let go of the life we're living to make room for the life that God wants us to live. Because really, it's not our plans. I mean, in an instant, all my plans for my life changed. A complete, 180. Everything that I had, hopes and dreams and future plans gone. But it's not the end, because God turns everything into something good. He said it, and we have to trust Him on that. In this whole process, I have learned that, and I've come through this, and it's real to me now. Okay, so I'm gonna just choose a couple more points because I know we have short time. But one of the things that's helped me is if we focus on the hurt, we're going to just continue to suffer. We have to change our attitude. And if we focus on the lessons that we're learning in this process, then we're just going to continue to grow. And we cannot take our eyes off of God and the real purpose in this life. And the real purpose in this life was not all my future plans with Ben. It isn't. What is our purpose here in life is to show others what God's love is all about. To show others that, God can bring me through a victory. Everyone says to me all the time, "You're so strong." And I say, "No, I'm not. It's God in me." Any human couldn't handle this. I would be dead. I mean, I'm not sleeping. I still keep going. Things are attacking me, but I'm fine because I'm not alone. God's with me. And so to be able to share that with other people that's what it's all about. So if God can use this tragedy, which he is and He will, then how can I complain? Because God can use us wherever we are, whatever's going on, it's all in His hands. So we have to just give up those reins, give up our plans, because it doesn't matter. This life is really short, and we have to really focus on what is the end goal here? What is our purpose here? Because life is really short, and it can change in an instant. So that's also become very real for me. Let's see. I'll just skip forward. On particularly rough days, when I just think I cannot do anymore, I can't endure anymore, then I try to remind myself of my track record for getting through the bad days is 100%. So I'm batting 100, and that's a pretty good track record, and so I can keep going and do more. Another point that has become real for me is God assigns mountains, and he has assigned me this mountain. Why? To show everyone else it can be moved. This is not it. It can be moved. I can get over this. We can overcome. And it's all because God is right there with me, carrying me through, carrying me up and over this mountain. And I definitely am seeing how sharing that with others is changing lives. And that's what it's all about. And, you know, as soon as we change our attitude, our perspective is going to change. Instead of complaining, woe is me, Lord, why did you give me this cross to bear? Why did this have to happen to me? Try changing our attitude. Try thanking God for this opportunity. It's an opportunity, not a problem, to show others that this cross does not have to be carried alone. Thank him for using every situation for his glory, no matter what it is. If through my tragedy I can show God's immense love, his perfect peace, and his enduring faithfulness to others, to show strength and be able to give the credit to God, to have the power to change lives and bless others, then how can I not say it's all worth it? After all, what is our true purpose here on earth for this very short time? Isn't it to show others that they don't have to go through life alone? That God is there waiting with open arms to help carry all their burdens, to help them carry them through this life. So because we're coming up on Easter next week, I have a small devotional, and then I'm done, to share with you that I have read many times throughout this journey and has really hit home with me. So 1 second, I'm going to take a drink of water. It goes. He received 39 stripes because 40 was known to kill a man. They wanted him alive. They held handfuls of his beard and hair and pulled it out by the roots. They wanted him alive. They kicked, punched, and spit on him for hours until there wasn't a single spot on his body not covered in blood. They wanted him alive. They shoved a crown of thorns down on his head so harshly it stuck in his skin. They wanted him alive. After hours of being beaten, mocked, whipped, flogged, and tortured, they made him walk with a cross. They made him carry it, a rough piece of wood with splinters digging into fresh wounds. They wanted him alive. They wanted him to feel every ounce of pain that they could bring. He had to feel it in order to heal us. Crucifixion was historically one of the cruelest, most tortured deaths a human could face. Hours upon hours of torture most of us cannot even mentally wrap our minds around because it isn't something we can comprehend. We celebrate Easter with pastel colors, happy children hunting eggs, and chocolate. Truth is, there's absolutely nothing happy about the day Jesus died. It was cruel, bloody, and nasty. He could have stopped all of it. He could have called every angel in heaven to demolish every person standing and shouting, "Crucify him." He didn't. He knew in order to have a Sunday, you have to have a Friday. He knew in order to have joy, you have to carry a cross. He felt everything that day. He felt how your heart broke wide open when you had to watch your baby die. He felt how heavy life was when you were staring down the barrel of a gun, wondering if the man you called husband was going to shoot you. He carried the weight of the burden you have felt since your spouse died, and life just doesn't seem right since. He feels my weight as I watch the man I love, so full of life and strength and talent, waste away to skin and bone. He feels the weight as I lift Ben from bed to wheelchair and back again, day after day. He feels and sees my pain because he already carried my pain. On that cross, he held the rapists, child molesters, murderers, the sinner, the saint. He leveled every playing field and said, all of you are worth it. He knew he had to carry the cross. He never promised the cross you carry in this life would not be heavy. His wasn't. His promise is that Sunday is coming. No matter how heavy Friday is, financially, emotionally, mentally, or physically, Friday is heavy. That cross is weighing you down, and you are about to crumble under its weight. His promise was simply this: He won't make you carry it alone. What kind of king would step down from his throne for this? Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, did. For you, for me, for everyone. He did every bit of it for everyone, you and me. And yes, it is heavy. So heavy, sometimes you do not think you can take one more step or cry one tear. And I've definitely been there many days on the floor when I think I can't pick myself up and the tears just won't stop. But God knows. We just need to look up because Sunday is coming.